As you've probably gathered by now, at Dilettante we're exploring the theme of collaborations. And today, for the first time, we're bringing together two artists who are not musicians per se, but for whom classical music is integral to the work they do. Now first we have Jessica Duchen, who's based here in London, and she'll be chatting with Norman Perryman, who is based in Amsterdam. Many of you will know Jessica as a very prolific classical music journalist, but she's also an author, and for her book, Hungarian Dances, she collaborated on a complimentary CD with the artist Philippe Raffin. As for Norman, he is an artist who performs kinetic painting in which he interprets music in real time. And this week he is making his debut with the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra in Amsterdam on the 23rd and 24th of September. Needless to say, he's very busy and we're really lucky to have him with us today. So let's eavesdrop on Jessica and Norman.
Okay, Norman, it's lovely to talk to you in this rather sort of bizarre medium.
Same here, Jess. It's lovely to talk to you and to see you on screen.
Yeah. I wondered if we could maybe start off by me asking you how you do your kinetic painting, how you evolve the technique, and if someone says to you, what is kinetic painting, what are you going to say to them?
It's very difficult to explain. Seeing is believing. I'm a frustrated musician, so basically I want my technique in painting, but I want to paint along with music. So that's how it really started, you know. In Dutch there's a joke, I play a sort of strijkinstrument. They say it's something like stroking, you know. It's like instead of a bow, I've got a paintbrush. So I stroke along with the music.
Right.
And listen to the CD and get an automatic response to it.
The big challenge for both for you as an artist and for me as a sort of musically oriented writer is how do we actually combine this art form that we practice with the art form that we love when music depends so much on existence in real time?
Yes. Well, I'm fascinated to hear your thoughts on how you do it, because when I read books like Your Hungarian Dances or whatever, thinking, well, how does she do this? How does she paint so vividly these personalities, these settings, this music? In fact, when you're painting music, you hear the music in your books when you're reading. I know how I do it because it's my discipline, but you can tell us personally how you do it too.
I think that the thing that actually connects what I do with music and writing to what you do with music and painting in a way is the idea of creativity as a form of improvisation. Yeah. I think, obviously you actually prepare the painting in real time very carefully beforehand. And yes. I also prepare things, but I have a skeleton outline before my novel, before I begin. But then it's a question of entering almost into a kind of meditative state. I don't know if you feel that as well, perhaps, when you're actually in the process of putting the paint, or in my case, the words on the paper.
There are times when you don't really know what you're doing, and those are the most creative times. You're going with the flow. You're in a sort of free fall situation, which is a very creative situation. But as you say, like you, I have the score, you know, I have, here's my score, with the little markings, you know, or whatever I'm supposed to be painting for them, playing, you know, and I've got my brush ready, you know, I'm all ready to sort of stroke with the violinist, you know, stroking somebody's face, because that's what the music is about. And so you've got your plot, you've got your structure, but then, you know, when you're in the flow of creating this, something else takes over, doesn't it?
Exactly, yes.
The painting gets a life of its own, maybe your characters get a life of their own, I mean, you tell me. And how do you follow that?
It's an interesting process, because sometimes you reach a point in a book where you've planned out this outline of the story, and then you suddenly realise that, it wasn't the case with Hungarian Dancers so much, but with Alicia's Gift, I suddenly realised that somebody had to die if a point was going to be made. And then you have to decide who to kill, and it's not a very comfortable sensation. I'm curious to know how you actually got started in kinetic painting. What made you inspired to begin it?
Well, it's definitely wanting to play music, you know, which I've done as an amateur, but it's very, very emotionally therapeutic, satisfying to see the colours of the music up on a screen as the music's taking place. I think there's a lost element there that I'm perhaps retrieving by doing this, by showing on a large screen above the orchestra the colours moving. And people say it frees them up emotionally to get into the music. You know? Simply, I'm harmonising, I'm looking for a synergy with the music. And hope that works. It's difficult to know where it really started though. It's still a work in progress. You know, after 35 years, I'm still learning a lot.
Sure, I think the vast majority of creative artists of more or less any kind are going to regard any piece as work in progress, however finished it's supposed to be. And sometimes the only way to finish something is the deadline that someone's given you.
That's right, a promise date or a publisher's date, I guess, in your case. Yeah. Jess, do you have synesthesia?
I don't really know. I've always, when I was a kid learning the piano, I did associate particular colours with particular notes. And I suppose in a way I think visually, but I don't imagine visually, if that makes any sense. I have very little sort of creative visual imagination. I mean, I never know what colour to paint a room, or what design of kitchen furniture to choose, for instance. I leave that sort of thing up to my husband. But when I'm writing my books, I visualise things very, very clearly. And there's a scene where, in Hungarian dances, where Karina is watching her lover, Rohan, playing the violin. And I can see that scene very, very clearly in my mind, partly because it's set in the Frick collection, which I happen to know, so I do know the room physically. But I can imagine how she is going to look watching him and reacting to what she finds is a kind of revelation of his character in the way that she does, although I don't actually describe her appearance. So I doubt that counts as synesthesia.
Does it matter? People always ask me, how do you write a book? How do you make a painting? Well, I don't know. You just go along. You just do. You can't explain this. So you have to read the book. You have to see